All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers in today's video. I want to talk about this offense. We're hearing some cool things. Justin Fields rumors. Rivals expect Steelers to get a little weird at the goal line. An insider believes the Steelers wide receiver trade could actually be coming soon. And then I want to talk a little bit about OTAs. But real quick, the Pittsburgh Steelers just picked up Jere Jenkins. He was from LSU, and they actually called him Big Play Jere. So I averaged career-wise over at LSU over 15 yards per reception. Probably just a camp body, probably just a practice squad guy, but I do like that kind of high reward there. So moving on real quick, Justin Fields rumors. Rivals expect Steelers to get a little weird at the goal line. We got a quote here from Jeremy Fowler. He said this yesterday on ESPN's SportsCenter. I've talked to multiple teams now who expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to get a little weird at the goal line with Justin Fields. Maybe have a package or two ready for him to go where he can be a runner or a thrower out of the shotgun. Remember, Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, when he was with the Tennessee Titans, used Derrick Henry in that way as a runner and thrower out of the shotgun. So Fields, with his quarterback background, can certainly handle that. And yeah, he ran for 657 yards and 4 touchdowns last season. And the year before that, he ran for 1,143 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. So moving on to our next headliner. But before we get into that, if you guys enjoy this video, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Make a ton of Steelers videos every single week. So if you try and get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So, I know Steelers fans are sick of hearing this. I understand it. I'm just kind of sick of talking about it. I want it to happen, but as we keep talking about it, the Pittsburgh Steelers don't need to make a wide receiver trade. I will admit, I don't feel great. I don't feel all that comfortable with Van Jefferson technically being wide receiver 3. You got Roman Wilson out of the slot, George Pickens on his way to stardom, and we're about to talk about Pat Freiermuth. So once again, they don't necessarily need to make a move like this, but if you truly believe you're contenders, I would like a little bit of a bolster, a little bit more of a solidified, proven veteran wide receiver than Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, Scotty Miller, or Quez Watkins. So moving on. The Pittsburgh Steelers are believed to still be in the market for a wideout. During the NFL draft, the Steelers and 49ers were reportedly very close to a deal to send one of their star wideouts to Pittsburgh. Now with OTAs finishing up and the 49ers striking a deal with Juwan Jennings instead of Brandon Ayuk, it once again feels like a trade could be back on the table between the two sides. So during an appearance on 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Ray Fittipaldo said he believes a trade is still very likely to happen for the Steelers, and the 49ers remain a team to watch. He said this quote, "I think Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, given what the 49ers have done, drafting Ricky in the first round, signing Juwan, I think there's another shoe to drop out there in San Francisco. They have too many good receivers, and they're not going to be able to pay all of them." So while that is true, I just saw a report that apparently some GM in the NFL believes that Pittsburgh and San Francisco were pretty much about to strike a deal on draft night for either Deebo or Brandon. It still feels like a pipe dream. I mean, I can't really imagine the excitement I would have, and I'm sure you guys would have, if Deebo Samuel, Brandon, and I joined Pittsburgh. I really don't care about the package. I just once again think, if you truly believe you're a Super Bowl team, and they clearly have a Super Bowl level defense, you kind of are, it feels like the offense is a piece away from being very legitimate, a very legitimate offense. So just moving on here. We have some OTA highlights here. There's no quarterback controversy. We heard this excerpt. They're putting everything that they have behind Russell Wilson. Tom Pelissero said during the Rich Eisen show, they want Russ to know, they want the locker room to know that this is the guy. I fully believe that Russell Wilson will be the starter for the entire season unless he ends up getting injured. But then finally, we have the tight ends. And, I've talked about the tight ends in so many of these videos, and I just want to talk about it again because we're hearing some hype out of Pittsburgh Steeler players. So Arthur Smith, the new Steelers offensive coordinator, found ways to get production from Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith last season. And with Darnell Washington and an ascending player and Pat Freiermuth coming off a brutal season, it just feels like Darnell and Pat are about to have huge seasons. It feels like Pat Freiermuth is finally about to be put on the radar in the NFL media world. Darnell Washington said this, "To me, it's very exciting, definitely in a tight and friendly offense." So Mike DeFabo wrote an article from The Athletic. The Falcons ranked first in the NFL in plays per game from either 12 or 13 personnel, which means at least 2 or more tight ends are on the field. They're also first in receiving yards to the position at 1,380 and fifth in receptions at 114 in 2023. So in our last Steelers video the other day, I was mentioning how, Pat Freiermuth just had a horrible season. He got banged up for a little bit. The whole offense was in disarray. They were the 28th ranked offense. And even when you had Mason Rudolph, the third string guy, come in for the final 3 games of the season, Pat Freiermuth was, pretty much a no-name all of last year, especially statistically speaking. And, we know it. Steelers fans know it. This should be at least a 600 receiving yard guy. But I got a comment in my Steelers video from the other day saying, what about Darnell Washington? This dude's a freaking beast. He's a freaking tank, and we're not hearing much about it. So I was glad to finally hear a quote from him that he's very excited, and it's a tight end friendly offense. Darnell Washington excelled as a blocker last season. And as I said in my comment response back to him, my big concern is that Darnell Washington is just not going to be used properly, and they're just going to use him as a blocker. But once again, just hearing that quote from him and hearing these statistics from the Atlanta Falcons, it just has me excited that, Darnell Washington hopefully is going to be able to get some balls thrown his way this upcoming season in this offense. So, once again, just because it's post June 1st. We haven't made a Steelers video since post June 1st. Basically, what this means is, you just saw guys like Xavier Howard and Jimmy Garoppolo. Like the Raiders freed up like $24 million from Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. We talked about this in our last video, but my point is you're about to see some trades. I don't know if it's going to be Cortland Sutton or Brandon Ayuk or Tyler Lockett or Deebo Samuel. Once again, I don't really think San Francisco is going to make a move. I know that they should probably on paper make a move with all these guys getting all this money. But at the end of the day, San Francisco was very close in the Super Bowl last year. And they just don't, I feel like they would rather have one of those guys walk away than make a trade at this time. I mean, it just seems like a lot to bank on a first-round wide receiver to help carry your offense. But they have Kittle, and they'll still have one-star wide receiver. So I guess I disagree with this insider that he thinks a trade is about to happen. I wouldn't be surprised, and I assume, based on this report, that they are still in the market for it. But once again, we have to keep in mind that if they were that close to making a trade on draft day, I don't know if the Roman Wilson acquisition changes their mind. Maybe they're not as big on like trading for as big of a player like Deebo, but I guess it is something to continue to keep an eye on. So I'll keep you guys updated. But that's all I got for today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Steelers fans, let me know down below. Are you guys done talking about getting a wide receiver too? Are we moving forward with this offense or this roster on paper here? Or is there a trade candidate that you would make a move for? Let me know down below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.